So I recently did a rebuild of this Facebook Marketplace Holley 4160 4-barrel vacuum secondary carburetor. But when I got it, I didn't pay close enough attention and I didn't realize that all of the choke bits are gone. So yeah, there's no choke plate or lever, and there's no manual or electric choke mechanism. So I went onto eBay and I picked up, I guess this would be like a new old stock, Holley electric choke conversion kit. This is a 45223. So we're going to see if this will work on that carburetor. And according to eBay, the choke plate and lever, which I got from a different eBay seller, are in the mail. All right, so let's crack this thing open and see what all is in here. Like I said, I haven't opened this thing up yet, so this is just the way I opened it, or just the way I got it out of the box from the mail. So we got there's some linkage, nuts and bolts and parts like that. So that should be interesting, and some vacuum tubing. I'll probably replace that because I don't know how old this is. Here's the actual electric choke, the heating element. Whoop. This would be paper. That would be the electric choke housing. So that with some linkage on there, some cam. Piece of wire. I guess that's for that would probably be for that. To go there for the heating element and the instructions. So let's see. Paper's nice and yellowed. So yeah, this is, like I said, new old stock maybe. Let's see, is there a date on this thing anywhere? Okay, here we go. Maybe we can see that. Maybe. Come on, focus. Focus. Is that 1982 Holley Replacement Parts Division? Pretty cool. I did something. I bumped something on the controls. All right. So, like I said, instructions. So I'm going to peruse through these things a little bit. And we'll hopefully get this kit installed on this carburetor. Like I said, and the plate and the shaft are in the mail. So hopefully should be here soon. If not, I'll at least get all this done, and then we'll deal with that part when it gets here. All right, so the first step, it says, is obviously to remove all the old choke, the manual choke mechanism. We don't have that. So then it says to remove the fast idle lever. So it says to remove this screw. See if I can do this with the camera in the way. All right, I'm gonna have to move you. Now that I got you moved, I can hang on to the linkage on the other side to keep everything from moving, and I can pop this screw out. Now the instructions say to retain this screw and remove the fast idle levers and the spring. I'm gonna try to keep all this together as one unit, so I'll retain this somewhere. All right. And then it says to remove the old gasket. I don't have any kind of gasket there. So on to the next step. All right, the next step says to take the new fast idle lever that came in that bag of parts, and then you take the fast idle screw. It's the one that's not threaded at the end. So it's got this bit here at the end. It's not threaded. It says to thread that into the fast idle lever. I'm gonna go ahead and just put that in probably all the way. Or not. Let me get a ball driver, or not ball driver, a nut driver for that. All right, so I got a 1/4-inch nut driver. That just makes, it's just easier than trying to turn that with a standard screwdriver. So thread that in there. All right, then it says to attach this to the throttle shaft. I guess like such. Oops. So it's got flats. I guess that's just going to go on like that. And then it says to secure that with the screw retained from the original fast idle shaft. I'm trying to work with like my arms straddling this camera. It's kind of a pain, but things we do for YouTube, right? This would be a whole lot easier if I didn't have a camera right here. Reminds me of a saying regarding a monkey and a football. We hang on to the shaft on the other side and we tighten this down. There we go. All right, next step. All right, the next step is to assemble the housing, get the housing ready to install. So, let's just take one of these cork gaskets, and on the back is this recessed hole right there. So that's where that cork gasket's gonna go. And then it says to take the choke rod, so this end, hopefully this will show up, has got a hole right there. So it says to put this through the bracket and make sure it's underneath the lever, underneath the black fast idle cam. It's the black lever, so it's got to be on the back of the choke housing, and that the fast idle cam lever is above the choke rod. So there you can see the cam is above the choke rod. And then it says to install the clip to hold that in place. So I'm going to get that out of the way. I'm not sure how well this is showing up with my fat fingers in the way, but all right, we got the clip installed. The cam is above the choke rod. So now we can put this in place. So we've got to get the rod up through the hole in the carburetor here. Come on. There we go. And then make sure that gasket didn't fall out. And we just line up. It says make sure that the cam, that the fast idle cam is lined up with fast idle screw, which is right there. So we gotta make sure this cam stays lined up on that fast idle screw and that these holes line up. And then it says to use the middle length screws out of the parts bag. So we get these lined up. Screw number 2, keeping it loose just to get everything lined up. 3 going right there. Everything's lined up, and just want to verify that again, that cam, that black cam, is lined up with the fast idle screw, which it is. All right, so we can tighten this stuff down. Everything is tight, and there's the, and this, I'm assuming, will eventually attach to the lever that goes to the choke plate. There we go. All right, so I got the housing installed, and you can see now how this will work once the heating element here inside the cap heats up. It'll draw that lever down, and this lever will attach to the choke plate, thereby opening the choke. So now I can install the cap, but the only problem I'm running into is the gasket that came with the kit is pretty much ruined. It's split in half. Just old, I guess. So what I'm going to probably do is I'm just going to cut my own gasket. I'm going to trace this out on some gasket material, cut it out, and I'll make my own little gasket to put on there. But when you install this, here's the spring. Got to make sure that the hole in the spring here lines up with the lever right here. So it'll go on basically. It's a little kind of difficult to see it, get everything lined up in there, but it'll go on like that, essentially, if I can actually get this to line up, and about like that. And then you can turn this, the housing has a mark in it, so right there, I'll probably highlight that with some white paint just to highlight the mark, and I'm going to turn that until it's basically centered on the hash marks on the housing itself. That'll just give me a good start point there for the choke. But like I said, I got to cut my own gasket, and get everything lined up, and then I'll be able to attach that. And then once that is where I want it, this is the little like a spring retainer. You want to put it on so that it bows outward. Then this will go on, and you'll run the short screws into there, and that'll hold the cap in place. And then if you need to, you can loosen those screws up. You can adjust the enrichment on the choke just by turning it. And then when you get it where you want it, we secure those down and be good to go. So let me go ahead and cut my own gasket, get this all lined up and put together. All right, so I just took some of this blue gasket material. I keep this stuff on hand, different thicknesses for situations like this. And I cut it to size, trimmed it down, and got it in there. Now I haven't tightened this down yet because I want to show, so I got the mark here in the middle. Getting that inner piece lined up with that spring can be kind of difficult, but now you can see how this rebounds now. So that the end of this piece that's in the housing is in the coil spring inside the cap. Otherwise it wouldn't rebound like that. So I got it in there. This is just the rod hanging up there. But now I can take this little spring retainer. You want to put it so that it bows out. We'll put that in there, or on there. And then we'll get the little screws. And these, figure they got to be standard and non like just round heads. Can't even use a nut driver or anything on them. Why can't they be consistent with hardware? That would make too much sense. But we'll get these in place. And like I said, I've got this mark right in the center. Just a good starting point to go with. Once this is in place, then all I got to do is wait until I get the actual choke plate and choke lever. Then I can attach those to here. And I should have a functioning electric choke. All right, and then take the short wire that comes with the kit, put that on the negative post on the cap, and that'll go there. Eventually, if it'll actually go on. There we go. And then we got to ground this. We can attach this to any of the, like back out maybe, like that screw there. Or this one over here. Let's do that one. We'll back that screw out, and then we'll attach the ground for the element right there. And then once the carburetor is in a car or on an engine or whatever, then, and of course the screw is in the way. So we'll ground that out somewhere else because I don't want to take all that apart just for that. I'll ground it to the vacuum secondary diaphragm. Just go right here. Pop that out, run this wire up. We'll just ground that right there. And then the positive from the car, truck, or whatever engine you install this carburetor on, positive will go right there. There we go. So now, like I said, once I get the actual choke plate and the rod, I should have a functioning electric choke on this rebuilt Holley 4160. It's been a few days and shipping took a little longer than anticipated, but I got the choke plate and rod. So I'm going to get this thing opened up and we'll get this thrown onto the carburetor. There we go. So that slips on there like that. That'll just slip in place once the rod is in place. But yeah, so now, get this stuff out of the way. Slide this over. The rod should go right in like that. Should clip into there. So now, of course, there's no way to, I guess once the plate is in there, actually what I should do is make sure this is going to be the right plate before I even continue. That looks like it should drop right in, maybe the other way. There we go. So it helps I put it in the right way. So there's the there's the choke plate, choke rod. Get that in there. Again, line it up. I'm wondering if there should be, I'm going to have to look at a parts breakdown and see. I wonder if there should be there's got to be some way to lock that thing on there. Oh, I wonder if, maybe just put a clip. No, that's not even drilled for a cotter pin or anything. Interesting. But I guess the plate helps to hold everything in place. Get that down on there. And there we go. Now I have a choke plate. Moves freely. Sweet. There we go. And there you go, guys. You can easily add or modify a Holley 4160 carburetor for an electric choke. Appreciate you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you on the next one.